Hello beautiful people, I'm RaishPhoenix, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys about my journey with self-love. If you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button and click the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. As you guys already know, today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, beautiful people. And today I wanted to kind of give it a different lens, if you will. I feel like on Valentine's Day we often prioritize the love we have for a significant other, but today I want to talk about self-love because I feel like self-love is something that doesn't really get discussed much. I feel like now it's starting to be discussed a little bit more, but I feel like we just need to talk about it more because I feel like a lot of people just either put it off or don't talk about it or don't really know what it is or how to find it. So I want to talk about my journey with self-love because this is an eternal journey, I know, for myself, and I want to talk about what I've done to get to the point that I am today with loving myself and how I learned to love myself and how it's become a priority in my life. As an artist, I have a habit of looking at other people or other things and finding them beautiful or finding the beauty in those things. I realized a couple years ago that it got to a point where I was looking at the beauty in other people more than I was looking at the beauty within myself. I didn't want to do that to myself anymore. So one day I decided, I want to start taking photos of myself. I want to start looking at myself. I think the conclusion I had come to is that looking in the mirror, you kind of only see one perspective of yourself. You're always looking straight on at yourself in the mirror unless you have like a full-length mirror and you're turning around and looking at yourself, but it's like you don't really get to see different angles of your body on a daily basis. Or sometimes we're so in a rush to go to work or to get somewhere that we don't even really spend time looking in the mirror, and if we do, it's like we're tasking, like we're thinking about brushing our teeth or we're thinking about washing our face. Like I feel like in those moments it's kind of like a rushed way of looking at ourselves versus really looking at ourselves and like really dissecting the beauty of our eye shape or dissecting the beauty of our nose or our lips or the bone structure that we have, or even just our being and our essence and the way it manifests ourselves into a physical form. I decided I wanted to start taking pictures of myself because I wanted to see that beauty. It's so easy for me to hear other people say, oh my gosh, you look so pretty, or oh my gosh, you look so beautiful, but it's like all those things kind of, I don't know, all those things kind of like, it's kind of like, okay, thank you, and then I keep it pushing. It doesn't really feel like, I don't really feel it sometimes. Like in the past, so to speak, I didn't really feel it as much. First of all, I built another level of trust within myself because I had to trust myself as the photographer and the model because I take all my photos, and at the same time I had to learn my angles and I had to learn how I move and what's natural for me when it comes to posing. And I also discovered in terms of like fashion, like what level of skin am I comfortable showing? And even in that, like, I don't know, like I'm pretty sure that the majority of women, when we wear something that we feel good in, like it shows and we really feel that. So it's just like for me, I was constantly putting myself in clothes that I felt good in, that it resonated with me, that it felt like it was me, and through doing that I built a level of trust with myself where I was just like, okay, like what style do you want to dress, or how do you want to like photograph yourself, or what angle do you want to see yourself from? I really built a level of trust within myself where I really found my vision and also was able to look at myself for the first time with that not being just through a mirror but through photography. Fast forward to last year, there had been a point where I had gotten sick and it was scary. It's scary to see your body do things that it's never done before and not really know the answers or know why, and to physically feel weak when these things happen. And going through that, I learned how to love myself more than I ever have. It's still recent, so I'm still emotional over it, and at the same time it's still affecting me mentally in a headspace where I'm the way I am today. I'm able to love myself as strongly as I do today because of what happened. So that was my way of finding peace in a situation that was scary as hell. Through getting sick, I learned what I mentally need. In those moments, I know deep down inside I needed someone to tell me it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be alright. Everything's gonna work out. Try this, try that. And I really learned the language that really resonates within me and really brings me peace. Through figuring out what I needed, I realized that that didn't really seem like it was a natural way for the people at that time that I was around to communicate in. Not to say that they weren't helping me, because they were, and I'm blessed to have the people in my life that I do. It's just that sometimes you realize that through the way that people are helping you, it's not necessarily the help that you really feel deep down inside you really need. In those moments I realized that it wasn't somebody else I was looking for. I was looking for myself. I needed myself more than anything. I needed my own love, I needed my own trust, and I needed to build that within. The more I was able to grasp that it wasn't something worldly that I was looking for, but it was something within, that was when I really learned to love myself, because at that point I really had to listen to myself physically, mentally, and spiritually, and really ask myself, well, what do you need? Like, what can I give you? You know, what can I do for you? Through that, I started eating healthier. I think eating healthier is another thing that really comes down to self-love, because think about it, when you go to get a burger from a fast food place, or when you get, like, I don't know, one of those pretzels from, like, in the mall or whatever, like, you know when it tastes so good and you eat it, but then after that you feel bloated and you feel like you just, like, ate a bunch of oil and stuff, like, and then for some reason it was so good that you go back for more. Like, those are the things that I've learned to let go of, because once you realize, like, how unhealthy that is for you, and you realize that, like, once you taste, like, organic, natural food and how good you feel in your body, like, good, that's when you start to eat healthier. It took me a really long time to figure out, okay, like, for my palate of, like, foods and tastes, like, what really feels natural for me, because I think that's what's difficult about eating healthier. It's that we want to do it, but it also takes more effort. It takes longer to prepare, and on top of that, sometimes it doesn't always taste that great. But once you figure out a way to incorporate the foods that taste good to you, you really realize the difference between how you physically feel and move in your body when you eat something unhealthy versus when you eat something healthy. It took me a very long time to kind of get to a healthier diet. I'm not going to say I'm the healthiest person ever, but I'm definitely eating the best that I have in my entire life right now. And for me to get to this point, I had to love myself. I had to really physically love myself to really get to a point to be like, I don't care how good that oily pizza or that oily pretzel tastes, you know deep down inside that is not helping your body, and later on can cause some serious health issues. So if you really love yourself, give yourself healthier foods that you need, not want, but need. I finally got to a point where eating these healthier foods didn't even feel like a task. Like, that's the thing about self-love. When you're really doing it for the love of yourself, it doesn't feel like a task. It feels like you're genuinely taking care of yourself. It feels like, I don't even know what to describe it as. It's an emotion, it's an intense feeling where you really know that what you're doing is for the righteousness of your being, your essence, and it's no longer right or wrong, it's just what's best for you. Even with eating healthier, what came with that was mentally checking myself to be like I already have a habit of being a workaholic, and I've grown so much in terms of just knowing when to take a break and knowing when I'm overworking myself. And in those moments, in the past, like when I wasn't doing well, I really realized or learned how to listen, because sometimes I have a habit of being like, oh, I'm hungry, but I'm gonna eat a little bit later because I want to finish this drawing. Whereas now I'm just like, girl, you hungry? Like, we need to eat. Like, it's time to go eat, you know? I've gotten to a point now where my response time, I think that's the best way for me to describe it. My response time is a lot better because I am consciously aware of what I'm feeling and how it's affecting me, versus, oh man, like, now I gotta stop doing what I'm doing to go take care of this thing. I also took the time to be more conscious and aware of the things that don't serve me. Unhealthy thought patterns that are bringing me more negativity than it is positivity. This was very tricky for me to do because I really had to... I think it's very difficult to kind of look at all the things that you do in your life and ask yourself, are you doing this to make yourself better, or is this hurting you? And I think sometimes those lines can become blurred because sometimes you get so unconscious in the things that you're doing that you don't really realize that you're attracting negativity versus attracting the things you really want in your life. And the way that I did this was I really sat down and I looked at the things in my life, or the way that I've been doing things, and started asking myself, okay, like, where did this come from? Or is this helping me? There are a lot of things that I realized that I kept doing to myself and I didn't really realize that I was doing it. And like another kind of like segue is that you have to have accountability. There comes a point where you really have to stop blaming other people for the way things are in your life and really realize that you have the ability to change that. And of course you can't change somebody else, you can't change a situation that's happened, but you can change your perception of it or change the way you react to it. When you love yourself, you realize that you're no longer going to put yourself in a space where you break yourself down and you feel broken from something, whereas you can really find a way to heal from it. And when I say that, it's difficult talking about this in a generalized form because I don't want it to seem like I'm saying your emotions aren't valid. Like, your feelings and your emotions are always valid, but just know that there's a difference between dwelling versus being aware of an emotion and being a watcher of it. There came a point where I had realized that there were certain things that, or certain thought patterns that existed within me that weren't serving me. You know, kind of like what I was saying before, instead of putting off little things like being hungry or having to use the bathroom, I would do it. My response time would be a lot quicker. There are other things where I'd realize that, I don't know, like even being a workaholic within itself, it's just like sometimes I wonder, or not sometimes I wonder, I know where it comes from, but it's like I had to take the work to be accountable. I had to do the work and be accountable of the fact that I keep putting myself in this space. Like, nobody's in my head telling me what to think. Nobody's telling me you have to keep working. Like, that's me. That's on me. So I have to tell myself, like, you gotta step back. Like, you gotta stop doing this to yourself. Like, also, like, I'm a very selfless person. I know I've said this in so many videos, but it's like, it took a lot. Like, it's very difficult for me to step away from the people I love and care about because I genuinely love helping people. But I realized like that I was helping other people more than I was helping myself, and I really had to step back from everyone and everything to really ask myself, like, what do I need? Like, how can I give that to myself? And I think when you love yourself that much, you realize that you stop doing things for the comfort zone of others and you start valuing your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, like, we're all responsible for ourselves. And when I say that, I don't mean that you should purposely do something that makes someone uncomfortable. I don't mean that. I mean, if this flows naturally, like, if it flows naturally through you to take a picture of, I don't know, this is the first thing that comes to mind, but it's like, if it's natural for you to wear a bikini in every photo that you post on Instagram, then do it, because that's natural for you. But don't, like, allow somebody to be like, Like, don't allow the thought process of somebody thinking lowly of you because you like wearing bikinis to affect the fact that you're gonna follow through, or affect whether or not you're gonna follow through with posting that picture. It's little things like that that still kind of are tricky for me to maneuver through, because sometimes it flows naturally through me, but then I think first, like, damn, is this gonna offend somebody? Or damn, like, is someone gonna change their perception of me? Like, are they gonna get the message that I'm trying to send with this? And I'm learning more and more to turn that off, because regardless of whether somebody is able to understand a message or not, is because of where they are in their life. And just because, let's say if you do something in 2017 and you do that with a specific intent of helping people, but then there's this one person who's just like, you're hurting people, and then 2019 hits, and then that same person's just like, wait a second, you've been helping people this entire time. Like, the only thing that changed through those years is the perception of that person. It's not you. You've always been doing the right thing. And that's something that I have to constantly remind myself, regardless of how people take it or not, my intent is always pure. I'm always trying to help and nurture and find the beauty and the peace and the enlightenment in things. And if somebody is incapable of seeing that this year, maybe they'll see it next year, or maybe they'll see it the year after that. But regardless, I need to stop thinking, but what if, before I follow through with something. And when you love yourself, you really realize that it's not worth it. You know, it's not worth turning yourself down, or being half of yourself, or partial of yourself, or only showing a part of yourself just for the comfort zone of others. Like, respectfully, if that's not what they're comfortable with, that's fine. I'll distance myself from you, healthy boundaries. But I'm not going to limit my ability to express myself because you're incapable of seeing the message behind my intentions. That's something that took me a very long time to get to, because my entire life, I don't know, I think I kind of know why, but I've always felt like I had to, I don't know, I always felt like I had to be a lowered or a low-key version of myself. Like, I remember being in even high school or middle school, like, I felt like if I was in 9th grade and the seniors were there, like, I couldn't fully be myself, because out of respect to those who are older than me, I couldn't, or I shouldn't, be at my full potential. And I remember feeling like that in college too. It was something within me. Like, it wasn't that anybody said anything to me. It wasn't that something had happened where somebody had said, you better be your old age and don't act like you're older than you are. But I don't know, it was something within me that I always made myself a smaller version of myself. I always made myself what I perceived to be the comfort zone of other people. I've always done that to myself, and I love myself enough now where I'm allowing myself to be more and more of myself, and I'm no longer allowing the comfort zone of others to affect my ability to express myself. And with self-love, it's like you spend more time with yourself. Like, I think that's something, obviously self-love, you have to be with yourself to love yourself. And I'd been spending so much more time with myself to really learn what's natural for me or what's unnatural for me, and kind of like the things that I need and when I need it. Kind of like, it's weird because, like, this is something that kind of happened the other day where I had wanted to take a break from working. It was a Saturday, and I told myself on Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, no work. You're chilling, relax. So I had taken a break, or I was trying to take a break. I was laying down on my bed and I was watching anime. I had the window open and I had my oil diffuser going, and I really wanted to chill out, but it felt like I had all this energy in me that I wanted to direct towards either working on an illustration or working on editing a video or something. And I kind of felt weird because I was just like, here I am trying to give myself a break, but for some reason the break that I'm trying to take doesn't feel natural. So I'm just like, how am I supposed to give myself a break? Like, how am I supposed to rest? Because I'm trying to rest and my body is just like, go, go, go. So I think what had happened was I decided to get up and go for a walk. And going for a walk helped because I was able to physically put myself in a space where I had to focus on how fast I'm walking, my breathing pattern, moving at a faster pace, whether I want to run or whether I want to walk. And that put me in a space where I was able to kind of get that energy out. But then I had realized another day after that, or a couple days after that, I had been working so hard that I was genuinely tired. So I had the intention to work. It was a work day for me. And I decided I'm going to rest today. So I had learned pretty much from like a week or so ago that there are times when I'm going to have the intention to rest and I'm going to set aside that time, and for some reason it's not going to feel natural and I'm going to feel the need to work. And then there are times when I'm going to have time to work, but then I'm going to feel, instead of working, I need to rest. And there's a level of just being open to new ways of doing things and being aware and conscious of those things. Like, I don't know, for some reason, like, that's still something in my head where I'm just like, wow, like, well, that's something to set aside time, but to set aside time to rest and not feel like resting and wanting to work, and then to set aside time to work and then not feeling like working and feeling like resting. So I'm learning more to, like, listen to what really feels natural for me in those moments, and to not force things, because when I force things, like working when I'm really tired, it won't come out. When I'm working on, the energy will be different behind an illustration or the way that I'm editing. Through self-love, I've really seen that self-love has allowed me to be more conscious of the energies from others that don't serve me and creating healthy boundaries. I think there's a level of just knowing that there's a certain communication that you need, whether your love language. When I say love language, specifically in this sense, I'm not talking about with a significant other, but I mean specifically the way that love resonates within you. I'm not exactly sure 100% because I haven't been in a situation to really see anything else. I don't know how to explain this, but pretty much I haven't been in a situation where there's been somebody who communicates to me through buying gifts versus there's somebody that communicates to me through the way they talk to me. Like, I haven't been exposed to enough variations in just friendships and family in general to really know what kind of feels more natural. And I'm not saying nobody's ever given me a gift. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, somebody's love language. I hope that's making sense. I don't know. But anyway, I haven't been in a situation where somebody has communicated to me specifically through gifts or specifically through words. And I'm still learning what feels most natural to me in those moments. But at this point, I feel like at this very point and moment in my life, I feel like what resonates with me the most is somebody who's reflective, somebody who's conscious, somebody who is aware of how their actions affect their reality and how their perception affects their reality. And it's very difficult for me to be around people who constantly make the same mistakes and constantly put themselves in a lower position than where they are. And through loving myself, I've realized that I can't be around that as much. It is very difficult, and if I am around it, I have to make sure I am not aware or able to receive it, meaning blasting music in my ears. So I'm putting myself in situations more where it really resonates with me and helps me in some way. Right now I'm at a point in my life where I love myself enough to put myself in situations that truly serve me, to put myself in situations where it helps me become the best version of myself, and also to just realize when I need time to myself. I can definitely feel that this year is definitely a year of reflection and a year of manifestations. I just want to continue to learn how to love myself better, because I know at the end of the day, once I return to being more social and return to talking to people on the regular or hanging out on the regular, I'll be able to communicate better. Because when you truly love yourself, you're able to love others more, or love others better. I think with that accountability that comes with self-love, you're aware of the energy you're putting out into the universe and also putting within yourself. You're more conscious of the way you talk to people and the energy behind it, because you know how to treat yourself better, you know how to treat others better. And I know that I have to do this because I've never done this before. And it's like, you can't expect to get better at things from doing the same thing over and over again. So I had to take a moment in my life to really do something different, you know, and sometimes that can be challenging or difficult or scary, but when you love yourself, like, you truly are willing to put in the effort, and it no longer feels, like I said, it no longer feels like a task. It feels like something that is helping you, like genuinely helping you, and you know that deep within you, like you feel it in your core and in your being. I'm just glad that I'm finally at a point in my life where I'm giving myself the time and the energy and the effort and everything that I need, and that I'm no longer looking for these things without, but looking for it within. The love I have for myself, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make myself a better version of myself, because it's worth it. I'm learning literally to be aware of my worth, you know, be aware of the fact that I'm needed, I'm necessary, I'm meant to be here. And when you find that love within, nothing compares to it. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any tips for self-love, comment them down below. Share, if you feel comfortable, your journey with self-love, or what you've been doing to take care of yourselves better. Let's have an open discussion about self-love, and really spend Valentine's Day as a day of love in general. Like, not feeling like it has to be focused on a significant other love, but love within, and focusing on becoming better versions of ourselves and how we can get there as a whole collectively, as opposed to leaving somebody behind. Let's not leave anybody behind. Let's all talk about self-love, and let's all feel the love on Valentine's Day and really bask in it and feel it within. I hope you guys have an amazing Valentine's Day that is filled with a bunch of blessings, abundance, and prosperity. Until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye, guys.